Welcome back to AWS DevOps Lokesh Tech YouTube channel. So we are going to start talking about Ansible. So Ansible. So recently we have completed Jenkins. So also we have completed Linux, shell scripting, AWS, Docker, Kubernetes, Jenkins. Now we are going to start about Ansible. Okay, so let's see how what is Ansible. By using this Ansible, what we're gonna do in IT, what is the use of Ansible, what is automation, what is the purpose of it, what is the difference between Ansible and some other tools related, and all we'll see. And so all after completion of Ansible, we'll see how to we'll create one small sample project. We'll see there by using all together all tools, Docker, Git, Jenkins, Ansible, all together we will create one sample project and we'll do that. Okay, so I'm sure that we will do that. So I'm requesting you guys, I requesting you all, kindly share my channel, like my channel, subscribe my channel, and please share entire my channel into other DevOps and AWS community. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to share my screen. Yashwant, now it is clear, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Let me share my screen. One second. Yeah. Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay. Yashwant, already about Ansible. What is exactly Ansible? If I ask you this question, what can you say?
Yeah, Ansible is nothing but it's a configuration and management tool, sir. Like
Hmm.
it is open source. Like we can tell like when it comes place means if you are having one scenario like we need to install some kind of system services in 100 resources like 100 instances. Yeah, it will take so much time to install that. In all the 100 services, we need to go to each instance and log into the each instance and install some resources and all. It may take time. It will consume more time. So that's where the Ansible comes place. Like by using the Ansible, we can use master and slave architecture. Like whatever the master will manage all the nodes, worker nodes.
Right. Yes.
It is agentless architecture. Yeah.
Correct. 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 Good.
Yeah, it is push based mechanism. Like
Yes.
whichever the Ansible master node will get the all the instructions, it will just push those instructions to all
Different
the worker
sessions.
nodes.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of notes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I will explain what Ansible is, show the different real-time scenarios, where can be used to make it process. So we are going to look Ansible components like playbooks and why it is good idea to use Ansible with the Docker. And at the end, we'll compare Ansible with its alternative tools like Puppet and Chef. So we'll see what is the difference, mainly why Ansible is very much popular than that. Okay. So yes, you are right. So I'm also going to explain the same. So what is exactly Ansible? It is a tool that helps you to automate different tasks. Okay. So now the question is, what is example of such tasks? Okay. Why it is important? Okay, so let me change my slide. Yeah. So what are the tasks? Why it is good for automate them? Okay. So better to do them automatically rather than manually, which means, for example, instead of doing anything manually, something to be automatic, automation in the sense that is easy process, right? So which means time saves, time consumption. So why? So let's go through these examples like one by one. So when you have a complex IT structure with tens of servers, okay, some IT task can be time consuming and very tedious to manually. For example, imagine one scenario. So where you can have 10 servers where distributed application is running. Okay. So like my these kind of, okay. So now let's say release, if you want to release new application or version, so then you need to deploy into the other all those servers. So you have a master, okay. So you can consider them as nodes. Okay, by using this architecture, so if you install from one place, you can also, if you want to uh, release new version, here itself you no need to go physically there. So you no need to go and install physically any software. So without, by avoiding this process, you can able to use this process by using master and node architecture. Okay, so if you can release new application or new version, so automatically which will applicable into the nodes. Okay, so another scenario where you want to update, okay, Docker version on all server nodes. For example, okay, I have a Docker, okay, Docker version, I want to release Docker version. Okay, sometimes such upgrades might involve multiple steps like restarting some process, okay, configuring the environment, okay, like that. So the other examples like repetitive tasks where we are using, we can also use this repetitive tasks. The system administrator perform and often takes hours to do manually, correct, such as like updates, backups, weekly system reboots, creating users, okay, assigning groups, permissions. So these kind of things, okay. So like this. So lot of slides I made. So updates, backups, repetitive tasks, create user, system reboots, assign permissions, assign groups. So these kind of repetitive tasks. So you can use Ansible, okay. So, and every time this configuration or upgrade or deployment needs to happen again. So you need to start from scratch and go through that whole process again and again. And especially if it involved multiple steps, you'll have to remind exactly what did the last step, right? So on approach that I have personally seen in my projects. So like people who just say write notes and document Confluence pages. I hope you know that. So Confluence pages, Jira. When you are using Jira, if you can understand that Confluence pages, all these things they configured or changes on the servers to deploy application or steps, how they install certain softwares, so that they can remember. They need to do it again and again. Hmm? The server or other environment. So they used to maintain some kind of manual application, manual documents. So they will maintain some Confluence pages. Again, you will forget, and again you will open that Confluence page and doing process continuously. You need to follow the continuously. So it will happens. Okay. So now Ansible come into the come. So now Ansible come into make all these different scenarios such make efficient and less time consuming in four different ways. Okay, what are the four different ways? These: execute task from your own machine, configuration, installation, deployment, steps in a single YAML file. Okay, and the third one is reuse the same file multiple times and for different environments. Okay, more reliable and less likely for errors. So um, you can execute all these types like updates, deployments, etc. Okay, all these servers from your own machine remotely. Okay, instead of going into each server one by one. Okay, so you can do it by writing all the steps, configuring, installing, deploying, etc. in a single YAML file. I think, one second, I just need to connect this. Okay, okay, using single YAML file. Correct. So instead of doing it with manual steps or combination of shell scripts and manual steps, okay, so you can reuse the same file, execute the same task sequence multiple times if needed. Okay, on the same server when you are doing the upgrade, or update something, or different environments, like when you are trying to create the identical environment on dev staging or production environment. Okay, number, so these so at the time, so you can use this, right? So more reliable and less likely for errors. Okay, so it is very reliable, so we can reduce the errors even. Okay, so humans are prone to make mistakes or forget some stuff, so they will miss also sometimes, especially when it comes to executing complex sequence IT tasks. Automating it with tools like Ansible make it more reliable and less likely that errors will happen when configuring servers or deploying applications. Okay, so we can avoid such kind of mistakes and errors. Next, right, so supporting all infrastructure. Okay, so now the state of Ansible is whatever it or system administrator talks, you can imagine, starting from OS level update to cloud provisioning. Okay, you can do all of the Ansible, you can do all these things. Okay, maybe OS upgrades or releases. Okay, so using operating system, anything to change. Okay, so a lot of differences cloud providers are there, like Apple, like Windows. Okay, so there are different machines will be there, right? So those machines, if you want to, so for sometimes maybe configuration changes. Okay, so different cloud providers will be there, right? Like Windows or Apple, IBM, something. Okay, a lot of different clouds providers work with virtual cloud servers as well as bare metal infrastructure is there. Okay, so for that also Ansible will be useful. So configuration purpose will use Ansible. Okay, and the only thing you have to do in order to execute these Ansible files on the target servers from your own control machine is using SSH. Using SSH connection, SSH, passwordless authentication keys. Okay, by using SSH connection. Okay, so you can able to access your, you can consider this as nodes and this is master. Okay, same like in Jenkins also we have seen master and nodes like that, master node architecture. Okay, so what does it mean? Normally when you want to use some tools on machine, you need to go the machine and install agent for the tool using Ansible. Okay, so you don't have to install anything on the target servers, you just install it on the machine which is your control machine, which means master. Okay, it could be even your laptop, or that machine can be managed whole fleet of targeted machines remotely. Using master, whatever the configuration you want to use, you can take into this machines into, you can see all, you can access your nodes, okay, into your machine. For example, 1 2 3 4 5 machines are there. Okay, these my 5 machines I can able to access by using passwordless authentication key. So if I can configure, so I can configure whatever the software I want to install. I can do it from myself, from the control machine, master, from master node. If you anything, you can do it here itself. You don't need to go location. Maybe if it is USA, maybe if it is UK, it is Singapore, London, so and so XYZ. Okay, so it is in other location, other regions. Maybe it doesn't matter. Okay, but you can able to configure from here itself in one machine. You can able to do anything from your machine. You can able to configure your machine, okay, from your machines. So that means manage, you can manage servers remotely. Okay, so you can manage servers remotely. Okay, so this means one, you don't have any deployment effort at the beginning. Okay, so you don't have an upgrade effort either when you are moving to new Ansible version. Okay, so no deployment efforts in a beginning. Okay, so now this is probably helps you to understand basic concept when Ansible is used. Okay, so let's see actually what basis Ansible works. I'll try to change. Okay, so modules. What are the modules? Small program that you can do, that do actual works. Okay, Ansible works with the modules. Okay, so and modules are basically small programs that do the actual works. They get sent from control machine to the target server, so that they get pushed out there. So you can also consider, uh, so you can also say control machine or master control machine. Okay, you can also say that. Okay, these are all nodes. So node or module, you can also say this is node 1, node 2, node 3, node 4, node 5. Okay, so right, so so first we can connect with this like this, right? So what the job is? The job is to targets reaching the target server, right? Like install, for example, if I want to install the application or stop the process or apply firewall rules, etc., etc. Okay, when they are done, so they get removed. Okay, for example, they have done, so they get removed. And it is important to note that modules are very granular. One module does not, one module, so for example, this module does one small specific task. Okay, so you don't have a module to create or copy a file, module to install an Nginx server, or module to start the installed Nginx server, or to start the Docker container with the arguments or create cloud instance. Okay, I'll change then. See this. Okay, so this kind of modules, I'm not changing the on time. Okay, okay, so this copy file, install server, okay, start Nginx server, Okay, create a cloud instance, start Docker instance. Again, I need to change. Okay, so modules. So hundreds of modules will be there. Lot kind of modules. Okay, so along with these modules, so we do have. So what kind of modules we do have? All modules, cloud modules, okay, clustering modules, command modules, okay, database modules, file modules, identity modules, inventory modules. So these kind of modules. So a lot of modules are available. So and Ansible has hundreds of modules that each execute specific task. Okay, and as I mentioned before, with Ansible you can basically execute any task. Okay, that's just because of all these modules. Okay, whatever modules I've shown. Okay, so it has module for many different cloud tools like AWS, Google. Okay, okay, it has modules many different cloud platforms like AWS or Google, Azure. So it modules to work with Docker or many different databases and CSD tools, different networking security tools, and the list goes on. So a lot of things are there. So so you want to execute IT task, there is a high chance that there is Ansible module to do that. So you can see that whole list of modules and how to use them. Ansible official documentation also. So if you Google it, Ansible official documents, you will get playbooks how to write. So all those. So I'll show Ansible official documentation. See this? You can learn many things. You can learn complete Ansible from here itself. Okay. So for users, for developers, okay, maintainers. See, everything is available in the Ansible. So in Kubernetes also, Kubernetes, AWS, they are maintaining official documents. So which will be very useful. So whenever you get doubts, you can come and check latest Ansible documentation. So it is a bit slow. See, the release nodes, installing, upgrading. Okay. So Ansible playbooks also you can find from here itself. This is official documents only. Okay. So you see, how to write the playbooks, what are the instructions we have to use. So all these things, if you have really enough time and patience, you can learn many things from documentation, official documentation. So you can see, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I just taken from this some I have mentioned some examples. See, what is this? So are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, it's home screen.
Is it
Now I
visible?
can.
Right. Okay. See, this is one example. See Jenkins model. How to write Jenkins model for Jenkins job. Jenkins job. Jenkins jobs to delete. Okay. So why it is become so popular? That Ansible uses simple YAML language, which means it does not require learning any special language because it is super intuitive. Okay, so this, if you see this using Ansible, okay, just to create a Jenkins job using basic authentication, so delete Jenkins job using the token. So we can create this also by using YAML file. Okay, so this is one of the example. And so creating job, this is okay. What I say? Okay, Docker modules. Okay, see, Docker modules that can be used to create, restart, delete containers, or even apply some configuration. Then so create container, start container, apply content configuration. Okay, so this is completely YAML file. So we will, this is very important actually. This is really reference to Docker, Kubernetes also, right? So for Docker module, how we have written? So created a data container, Docker container. These are all name, image, and volume. Next, start container with the command. Docker container name is sleepy. Image is something image. Command is this. Okay, and add container to networks. Docker container network is network name. This is has he has given, and this is IP links and name IP address so and so. This is one of the example. So we can create like this, which means create a container, start container, apply the configuration like that. Okay. So other example, see, Postgres. Okay, using YAML also we can create Postgres module to do some lot of different DB tasks like creating table, so setting user privileges, etc. Something, you see, this is for create a table. Okay, Postgres SQL table something FO4. This is actually taken from official document FO4. This kind of names will be there in official documentation. Okay, rename bar. Okay, name set owner some user. Okay, Postgres SQL table name is FO4, owner is some user. Okay, so and table, so truncat. Okay, set for privileges. Okay, truncat, yes, that is for privileges. So I said modules are very granular and very specific. Obviously, so when you are making some complex configuration or deploying an application, so you'll need multiple of such small modules in a certain sequence grouped together to represent that whole configuration. So all the steps deploy in the application. So that's where Ansible playbooks come in. So we can write the playbooks, head hook playbooks, and also so multiple playbooks we can able to write. So we can create users. Sorry. Okay, users and groups. We can create users and groups, and we can keep in that sudo. Okay. All right. Next slide. Okay. So module in the sense node, guys. Just remember. So node 1, node 2, node 3, node 4, something like this. Node A, node B, node C, node. Okay. So node A, node B, node C, node D. So we can make it a group also. Okay. See, so multiple nodes, modules, okay, in a certain sequence, and to make it as a group together, right? So let's see next Ansible playbooks. See, Ansible playbook. What is module name, arguments, and see this tasks. How we are writing tasks. So first of all, sequence module are grouped. Okay. See this module name. This is module name. These are all arguments. Okay. So this is description of the task. Okay. Next. Okay. Next. So rename table set to owner truncate table. Right. See this how. So rename table. Rename table set to owner. Okay, and the truncate table. Yes. Okay, so these arguments are also describes a task using the name. Here we can have an example of group of task where the where a table gets renamed, the order gets set, and then table gets can you pronounce it? Truncate, right?
Yeah, sir, truncate.
Truncate. Yeah, so gets truncated and all using Postgres modules, or you can also execute multiple modules in sequence like this, like, right? So, right here you have a module file that basically creates directory for Nginx. So see this. So then you have module install Nginx, correct? So, and you have a service model that starts that installed Nginx and that will execute it exactly that sequence. Okay. So, and that will be one configuration. So, to say now we have defined a sequence of task should be executed, but we also have a defined where or not or on which target machines these tasks should be executed all. Okay, this is how we have to and sequence multiple nodes modules in a sequence. How we have to write this one, two, three. See, right? Create directory for Nginx, install, start. So all together, right? We are writing everything in one. Um, so one YAML, one file, right? This is one task. Sorry, this is one task, this is one task, and this is one task. First task what we are doing? Creating directory of for Nginx. Next after creating it will install. After that it will start the Nginx server. So we are not doing this activities um, separately, right? So we are doing all these activities in one task, correct? This is a task. In one task we are doing all activities. This is called as automation, right? Okay. Next, we also define with which user those who task should be executed, and remote user is user. Sorry, user is yeah, user is user definitely that will execute these tasks on the server using users. Okay. Why it is not getting? Yeah. See this remote user root. Okay. So what is the task? Rename table. Okay. Set owner user. Set owner to some user. Okay. This is name of the user, guys. Okay. Next to truncate table. Okay, PostgreSQL table, truncate table. So we can do these kind of tasks using host. Okay. So and here we are connecting with the root user, but you can also connect as a non-root user. Okay, and then escalate to good user privileges if needed, and note this indentation here. So like this. See, host and remote user. So host is database, remote user root, a task which we have given using all these things. Okay, remote user. So which user should the task execute? Remote user, right? So we have to follow strict proper indentation because it is YAML. So YAML is very strict with the indentations. This we have seen already in Kubernetes. In Kubernetes also it is very strict because in Kubernetes all manifest files writing in YAML. So that is why Ansible is very useful. If you are really perfect and expert in this Ansible, definitely it will be useful for Jenkins also, Kubernetes also, so many things. Okay, right. Next, correct indentation, proper indentations that I have told. Okay, so how? So the other concept is that when you have Ansible playbooks, let's say recurring value is like our table name is here, something. See, variables for repeating values. Okay, so which is used to many different places. You can use variables in Ansible, and the way is to do is on the same level. Here you can define variable attributes. Okay, where's so where you can define your own variables, and here I have just to define table name. Correct. So this is actually covered. Okay, correct. And so right. So see this just compare this task, this task. Name, owner of this some user, owner of some user, and here truncate table, here truncate table. What is the difference? You understood? Remote username is root, same, right? So here I have mentioned extra variables, wheres. Here no wheres, right? Using variables for repeating values. Okay. So if something is repeating, you can use variables. By using variables, you can repeat the task, right? Okay. So in one playbook, we can write multiple tasks. You can see. Is it visible properly? See this host web server, remote user root task. So create directory. Okay, install Nginx, start Nginx. So this is related to, this is under host. Okay, so this host tasks are there. How many tasks? 1 2 3, correct. And again this is comes under main. In this again this is different. Okay, so this is parent, these are all this is parent, and these are all child, and again this is parent. Database related. What are the tasks? Rename table, database table rename, table username some user setup, and truncate table FOO is username, and truncate is yes. So two different. So this is parent, this is parent. Under parents, 3 tasks, and this parent, these many tasks. Okay, multiple playbooks. We are writing multiple playbooks, right? So like this. So we can write like this, multiple playbooks also, right? Next. So your good practice is play name. Okay. So install and start Nginx server. So this is for in rename table, set owner, truncate. This you just maintain this. It is really good practice for better understanding. Okay. And so this is telling where do this host values come from. Okay. These values for host attributes actually comes from which host or which host. They refer to that reference is defined Ansible inventory list. So which looks I will show you like this. See this Ansible inventory list is like this host file. Okay, you'll have this host file, right? This is host file. This is one group, web servers group. This is database. So this maybe if it is one group, if you can say this web service related, you are making it as group, and you are keeping those nodes in under this. Okay, in this inventories. Okay, and it is taking reference like this. Okay, so here is host is web servers like this. If it is web server, it will take reference, and if it is the host is database, it will take from database like this, right? So you will have this host file basically keeps list of inventory like this, where inventory is all machines that are involved Ansible task executions. Okay, so what are involved in this task Ansible task executions? So you can define the entries in that host file, IP addresses or the host names. This here IP addresses are the host names also we can keep. Okay, so I'll show next slide. See, this is overview, guys. I'm not completing Ansible. Just I'm keeping all, just giving overview. So and you will see you'll have this host file that basically keeps a list of inventory. Okay, a list of inventory files. Okay, so where inventory all the machines that are involved in the Ansible task executions, and you can define the entire so entries in the host file IP addresses and host names, IP address and host names. Excuse me. Okay, like this. These are all IP address. These are all host names. We can group it like this. Okay, you know already. So okay, I have kept for every small thing. I kept one slide. Basically, multiple IP addresses or host names together so that you can reference them as group. I told already. So you can mention groups like this, right? Multiple addresses and host names. You can make it as a group like this. Database. This is server group, database group like that. You can make a groups like that. Okay, right? Uh, Next. This is also same. Even if I explain 100 times, also the meaning is same, right? So okay, so here first one of the Ansible uses for Docker. Okay, here if you can observe, usually when you want to create a Docker containers, you write Docker files which basically prepare the application environment. Okay, so you have application artifact, so which could be jar file. I'll start this again. Okay, which could be jar file. For example, and then you define the Docker file which config file, right? So and then you define Docker file which config file so should be copied to the environment. So maybe directory should be created where the log files will be stored. So you define set of environment variables, and maybe so you also copying start script. Okay, that should be executed. Let's say before the application starts, all this basically prepares the environment. Okay, right? So environment, it's a kind of pairs. Okay, then in the environment for the application startup and Docker files that will be produce Docker container with the application. Okay, so Docker container with the application, and it is prepared environment with the Ansible. You can actually create alternate the Docker file, which is more powerful. You can take that same type of configuration with the application artifact and these things. Okay, these are all artifacts. Lastly, what we will get, we will generate jar and var files, right? These are all artifact files, right? So with application artifact, all these things around it. So and instead of just creating Docker container, you can basically create Docker container. You can basically create Docker container. You can create so Vagrant container from it. This one from this. So Vagrant container. Next to, so you can deploy that application with this environment into cloud instance. Maybe if it is AWS or something, any cloud instance, or even bare metal servers, bare metals. Okay, so what this means is Ansible allows you to reproduce the application across many environments, not only Docker container. Okay, so another advantage of doing that is you cannot only manage the Docker container. Right, by this picture you can able to understand, right? Okay, so manage the Docker container, but also host where is sorry not only manage the Docker container but also host. You can see here, this is Docker container and host, this one. So these artifacts will be used where this application for application. So for example, if the container has dependency on the storage of the host or network, using Ansible you can able to manage all these different parts, so which can make it possible to create one playbook that basically execute task. Okay, so both on container and host level. Okay, so yeah, that's it. It will be useful for Docker also. So Docker also we have used. Okay, so you know that. Next is Ansible Tower. So another interesting part this is actually. So what is the interesting part of Ansible Tower is, so this is actually UI dashboard from the Red Hat, which basically gives you way to centrally store all your automation tasks across teams, where you can configure permissions for those teams who can access the execute and tasks. Okay, you can manage it, where you can manage your inventory and have good overview of the jobs that you can run their health status. I did not used it. Okay, but just I have taken. So the Ansible Tower also is there. They used to use this long back. Okay, so where you can manage inventory and have a good overview of which jobs you can run their health status, checks the status, correct? So like CloudWatch kind of health status, okay? Automation task across teams, okay? Configure permissions, manage inventories, okay? Mm, next we'll compare. So compare tools. Ansible and what are the competitors for Ansible? Puppet and Chef. I should mention their alternate tools are Ansible, the most popular among being Puppet and Chef. But there are two main reasons why Ansible may be more popular than these tools. Hmm? So this is widely accepted thing actually. The first one is while Ansible uses the YAML structure to define the task, Puppet and Chef are used in Ruby, which is more difficult to learn. Understand this point, okay? And that makes Ansible much more appealing, especially for people who don't want to learn new language and just want to get started with the tools immediately. So it should be readable, understandable, which means a human readable format. Okay, the second format, this human readable format, right? Ansible can anybody can understand, right? Because if they complete the so graduation, they can understand AML script, computer background people. Okay. The other one is that something that I mentioned in the beginning itself. Ansible is agent based. So meaning that instead of having install an agent on every system, so you don't want to manage. You just need an SSH access where Puppet and Chef just like any other tool. You have You just have to install and then manage their updates on their target systems. Okay, Ansible can use simple YAML file and agent list, right? Hmm? One sec. I'll keep this only then. Correct. When it comes to Puppet and Chef, so Ruby more difficult to learn. So Ruby YAML as compared to YAML, Ruby is difficult. Okay. So this is agentless. Ansible is agentless, but Puppet and Chef is installation needed for every host. Okay, for every nodes. So need managing updates on target servers. So for example, by using Ansible, you might managing with the master and um, slaves, maybe nodes. So without SSH connection, with SSH connection, agentless. So you are managing it, right? Any updates if you have, you can able to do it from here itself. But in Puppet and Chef, you should not do like that. So you need to managing updates in their machines separately. Okay, targeted servers, which means separately you have to update it. Okay. So finally, I can say Ansible or similar automation to like Ansible and Puppet and Chef. These are all similar automation tools. Have the most benefits. So when you have complex environment where there are many moving parts like multiple servers, dependent applications, complex applications and configurations. So this kind and where it could be even critical to use automation tools in order to prevent human errors. Okay, and it's too tedious and time to so manual works according. So we can avoid manual works. So whereas it's simpler steps with just a single service, just more straightforward configurations, right? It can be it can be optional for Puppet and Chef, but more popular is Ansible. If you learn Chef and Puppet also is fine if you have enough time. Okay. So we'll discuss more about Ansible from tomorrow's class. So we'll set up. We'll see what are the playbooks, ad hoc commands. So we'll see that in next class. Okay. So that's it. Kindly share and subscribe my channel. Yogesh, please post my channel in our DevOps community. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So this is all about just introduction about Ansible. We'll see. We'll set up tomorrow Ansible master and nodes, models, host, whatever. Okay. Okay. So just give me some more time. I'll check with my schedules and meetings, and I'll come back to you. So if possible, we'll try to connect and we'll try to create domains. Okay. At least try to complete
Okay,
buying
sir.
domains. Okay, which from hostinger or good or whatever. So we'll see that. So if it is possible, we'll try to finish buying that. And next step, we'll see one by one. We'll do that, not at a time. Okay. We'll update you. I'll ping you message in short after taking some break. Okay. So let me check my works and all.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. 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 Fine. Thank you, Yogesh. Thanks for connecting. So we'll keep in touch. So I'll update you. Until then, take care. Bye bye.
Okay, sir. Bye, sir.